Side here, and we're live. So there's a Sports Econ 101. It's backwards.
We're gonna have to do a real one.
A real one. For now, this is working. Okay, but we'll have to do a real one. Again, this is just showing up for CMCM, and I got to lose some weight too.
Yeah.
The gels there. All right. Mine. You have to kind of come around here to see it, but we just did our first segment of Sports Econ 101 for June 15th. It's going to air this Saturday. Bruce and Vern are off today, and so Russell Jackman is with us. And Russell is, I knew Russell from some networking things, and then turns out he was a manager for wrestling.
Still am.
Still am.
I mean, no one's fired me yet.
Okay, well, that's good. Who are your clients?
Well, right now, wrestling-wise, I'm working with that Wrestling for Charity company, WFC, here in the Bay Area, and now I'm working with Eric Shaw. As we did, a few months ago, we did an interview about how we're going to try to do a show here in the Bay Area. So I don't have any one particular wrestler that I'm working with as a client, but what I am doing is working with these different federations to try to put on shows here in Northern California and get some money, hopefully, for veterans. That's something that means something to me. I never actually served in the military. My dad was in the Air Force, but I have tremendous respect for the people who served, and just because there wasn't a war going on while I was growing up doesn't mean that I don't respect the people who are fighting for freedom and justice here.
Well, you're a little too young for this, but when I was at college at Marin, the Iranian crisis happened, and I was the first set of people who had to when they reinstituted the draft, because when I was born, I was the first set that had to register, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're telling me I can actually be like, recruited?
They talked about that with the Falklands to possibly draft people
for the Falklands?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny.
Yeah, that's
they were trying to, say, well, we'll get into a war and, people will, need to mobilize the military. And then everyone went berserk about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because that one's not quite as much as, the Iranian crisis. It was, our own hostages for 444 days, I think it was.
Yeah. And, it put Reagan in control. I know you were happy about that, but it's not as a popular subject.
Well, within 2 weeks okay, so this is a story. I'm going to tell the story, and this is just a rumor. So I'll preface this with a rumor. I had heard that when the students, we'll call them, of the Ayatollah had they basically had planned to take over both the Russian embassy and the U.S. embassy. Word got leaked out to both us and Russia. At the time, it was Russia. And apparently, our attitude was, please don't, please, please don't, don't take over our embassy. Russia sent a telegram that says, if you ever get anywhere near the embassy, we're just going to wipe you off the planet. So what Iran did was, even as maybe crazy thinking as those people were at the time, they just go, yeah, we're not going to play around with Russia. Let's just take over the U.S. embassy. Again, could be just a rumor, not true, but I wouldn't be surprised. With all the spying going on and all the information, wouldn't surprise me if Russia actually had known about it, apparently, as we did. All right, now we're going to get back to Sports Econ 101.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone wants to get back to the non-political
stuff. Yes. Again, not making it political, just trying to do history. Okay, are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here, along with Russell Jackman, filling in for both Bruce McGowan and Vern Glenn. You're a 2-for-1 guy.
Yeah, I'm already exhausted.
Yeah, that was just one quick segment, wasn't it?
Yes.
All right. So now, again, we are recording the show on Tuesday, the day after the famous Game 5 of the Warriors Raptors. Holy smokes! I mean, poor Bob Myers, man. Yeah. He really took it personally, like he was the guy responsible. And
I don't find him responsible at all.
No, I mean,
in fact, and Charles Barkley this morning was trying to blame the Warriors organization for making Durant go out there and doing that, not, basically putting a gun to his head and forcing him to get out there. And I don't see that at all. First of all, people get hurt in doing that sort of plant move all the time. So it's not something that necessarily yes, he had it already hurt from his calf injury, but that's something that could have also happened to him anytime he steps foot on the court. And he knows that, and that's a risk every player takes when they go out there.
Well, and I'm sure if he was really, continually being hurt, which happened, a month earlier, he would have just said, hey, listen, I can't play. I mean, he wants to play, but if he can't, like Klay Thompson, he had his injury and stayed out for, one game? And then, but he didn't want to come out, but he had to.
Right.
But when he thought he was ready to
come back, and the Warriors took a lot of flack from that. As far as leaving Klay out, a lot of people were saying, well, then we lost the game, and then people were saying Klay should have played, and we needed him, and we lost by 13, so I don't think we would have wound up winning with Klay in there anyway.
It depends, his defense is pretty good too, so.
Yeah, and that was missing, and you can tell that now that his strength is back, his defense was much more improved.
Oh yeah.
You didn't see the incredibly huge games from Danny Green, and you didn't see the huge games from Van Vliet. Did start getting off towards the end, but in the middle of the game, Van Vliet didn't contribute at all. And so that's, a big thing. And for Durant to go out there, I just thought it took a lot of guts. It took a lot of all that criticism about him being a cupcake for all those years. That's sort of by the wayside. But I don't hold anyone, as a Warriors fan, and I'm as big a Warriors fan as you can possibly get, I don't hold the organization responsible for what happened to Durant last night. I just feel it was a very unfortunate situation where, God bless Durant. He was giving it his all to try to win that game.
And I really appreciate the players on the Raptors, trying to keep the crowds from going lunatic about cheering when a guy gets hurt.
Right. Oh,
and I don't think they realize how hurt he was.
That's part of it, but also, next game, Gasol could go down and get hurt. You want the Warriors chanting, ha ha, Gasol's hurt? No, you got to have class. Someone gets hurt, it could be your guy next, and you want to make sure that you have some modicum of class. When
especially the way it happened, it wasn't. I mean, nobody got in a fight. The game's been. There's really been hardly any.
No,
I can't think of any arguing. So it's been very clean.
Draymond better watch it.
Yeah, but he's not. No, I'm talking about between players.
Oh yeah. Well, Draymond is tried to mix it up a few times, and now he's got his sixth technical. He misses. He gets. Now, one thing I'm not sure about how the NBA rules work. Now, it takes 2 technicals to get ejected out of a game.
Yeah.
But they say that his next technical, he's suspended. So if he gets one more technical, does that mean then he still plays for the rest of game 6 or 7? Let's say he gets one single. He's playing into game 7.
Okay, I would guess, and we'd have to have an expert on the show on this. I would guess that if he gets a technical the next game, let's say, that he can play the rest of the game out, but the next game he would be suspended. And obviously, if he gets another technical in that same game, he would get thrown out. But I don't think they'd go, oh, you already have 6, 7, that means suspended. I don't think it takes place right away.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting. Obviously, I don't think that's ever happened, as far as I know. Where
as far as I know,
in the NBA Finals, someone getting their 7th technical and getting suspended.
No, when Draymond got suspended,
that was because of a fight, though. He was automatically because he punched LeBron.
Oh, that's okay. That's
so that it was an automatic ejection for a game, suspension for a game because of the punch.
Gotcha. Yeah, which is really kind of, if I remember.
Oh yeah,
big punch.
Well, and so do you, in your mind, do you think that Draymond now has it really planted in his head that he can't get another technical, at least not until game 7?
Yeah, I think he does, but I think again the emotions get to you, and it's funny because I think about myself. Sometimes I can be that way too, or for the most part I can keep my head about me. But I look at some of the fouls that were called against him, and I would immediately blow my top too if I just just went straight up, or even it backed off, and player jumps into me, and I still get called for a foul.
But
I could easily.
But Draymond knows that he's got the short leash. I mean, that's
true.
It's not as if these technicals are being called on Sean Livingston.
Yeah.
Or Quinn Cook. These are those guys are easygoing, and they don't want. I mean, they get some bad calls on them too. I've seen Sean Livingston get pushed around pretty hard.
Oh yeah. Series. Well, he's got these little skinny arms and
stuff.
He's kind of
in fact, I was just talking to my friend the other day about how Livingston he's the one guy that really hasn't found a way to contribute in this finals.
Now, it's interesting is all during the season, he looked like he was scared of the ball. He wouldn't go down for it if the ball was loose. That's why he totally back off. There was I think it was game 2 though. This time he was like getting very aggressive, which was great. But again, he really hasn't contributed.
No, his shot isn't there. That mid-range shot of his, which I thought with Durant out would actually be a really open play for him, because Durant does have that really good fadeaway from mid-range that is very deadly. A lot of people focus on how good Durant is at dunking and how great his three-point shot is, but they actually don't focus on that little fadeaway, almost like Olajuwon fade.
Oh yeah, I remember
fade,
that. Sure.
Dream shake and fade. That is really hard to stop.
What is it with missing all these layups?
Yeah, it's concentration. I really think that I know that people will say, well, hey, the Warriors should have lost last night, but they really should have been up by 20 at several times in the game, where they were up by 13 and they could have really put their foot down on Toronto, and instead a number of very shady passes that were, turnovers. The other thing that I find has been really critical about the Warriors has been they're giving up offensive boards.
Exactly. And I said that to Jim Barnett when we had him on the show. I said, to me, the two main things are the turnovers and nobody goes for offensive boards. And you think about it.
They do go for the offensive board. Let me clarify this. The Warriors, because I've been really watching the games closely, and the Warriors are doing this. They are making the stand on the first shot, but they are butterfingers when it comes to the rebound. The ball bounces off their hands and goes out of bounds. The ball bounces off their hands and goes right into the hands of the Toronto Raptors. The ball, or they get it, and while they've got the ball in their hands, they're trying to dribble out and make a bad pass that gets intercepted. They're getting it stolen from them.
Well, I've been pleased that Draymond has not completely thrown the games away. He was doing that for a while, where every pass was just like, what is he thinking? But anyway, we're going to cut to a commercial break. We're going to start asking trivia questions here. What NFL team was originally called the Seniors?
Wow.
And this obviously the Seniors is not a team in the league anymore, but this franchise is still around.
Okay, they still are. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like, Oklahoma or whatever, who I mean, they never had a team, but excuse me. So that's our trivia question. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com. The answer to this question, I wish Bruce was here because I don't even think he'd know the answer to this. What NFL team was originally called the Seniors? All right. Again, email Edward at sportsecon101.com. Let's see if you know the answer to this trivia question. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the financial aspects of what's going to happen with KD. It ought to be very, very interesting, especially in the offseason. All right, don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 is going to be right back.
Dial.
Right in, huh?
Yeah, now who has a dial on their radio anymore?
No, we're on terrestrials, a couple hundred terrestrials.
No, I'm saying, but nobody has dials anymore. They have buttons. But who the frick has a dial
I
anywhere?
have dial.
Really?
Well, I have both.
Oh, okay.
Right, because you can do.
No, it's like
going back way.
Yeah, no. When I say to my kids, like, rewind, they're like, "You mean reverse?"
No, rewind the tape.
Yeah, what tape? What are you winding? You're like, oh yeah.
How old are you kids?
Right. 8.
Yeah, that's too young. They don't even know what a phone booth is.
No, except anecdotally, and seeing it in movies and stuff.
Yeah.
I still haven't had to explain to them why the Twin Towers aren't around anymore.
Well, they wouldn't have. I mean, what do you see pictures of it? Mean?
Yeah, I still haven't had to explain to them when they look at pictures in New York why these two gigantic buildings are
Wow.
suddenly not there anymore.
The phone is ringing, which hardly rings.
Huh.
Edward Brown here. Yes. Hey, Jackie. I tell you what, I'm recording the radio show right now. Can I give you a call back? And usually my cell phone is best. So what's the best number for me to reach you? It's not. Yeah, I don't have that on my phone. Okay, which is? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, I'll call you back after the show. Thanks, Jackie. Okay, bye. The phone hardly ever rings, and now it's not going to because I'm going to unplug it.
Unplug it. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be awkward.
That happened once before when we were filming, doing a in between the radio show type of thing, and I was using a little whiteboard type thing, and the phone rang.
Oh, wow.
The phone hardly ever rings.
Yeah.
But it did that time. Okay, let me just save this one. Let me save 2 spots. All right. Yeah. All righty. That was segment number dose.
So speaking of seniors.
Yeah, that's right. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Away we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here along with Russell Jackman. Let's see. What NFL team was originally called the Seniors?
I will guess, and I didn't look it up on my phone or anything. I'm going to guess the Chargers.
No, it was the Oakland Raiders. Can you believe it? It says the original name was winner of a name the team contest. It was changed to the Raiders, the third place name, after 9 days.
Wow. No.
I'll bet Bruce doesn't even know that.
Wow. Wow.
Because he knows quite a lot.
I think they made the right choice, marketing wise.
Yeah. I don't know where I mean, some of these names. I mean,
Yes.
And then baseball, the Cleveland Spiders, the Louisville Colonels,
the Pittsburgh Steamrollers, or the Pittsburgh Ironmen, and the Providence Steamrollers for the NBA back in the day.
40s?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and the Sheboygan Redskins.
Yeah, Sheboygan. I remember they had. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Crazy stuff. Okay. Moving on to so KD. All right. So he goes ahead, and is it actually a full torn Achilles?
As far as he's getting flown to New York right now as we speak and getting looked at there. But when the guy is walking around with the giant cast on the foot and the leg, and you've immobilized the leg, I mean, it's without any kind of a medical miracle, I think he's pretty much not only done for this year, but all of next year too.
Yeah, because DeMarcus Cousins was out almost a full calendar year.
Yes.
With that.
Yes. And so, and especially because this is a wear and tear injury and not an impact type thing. It's and he has another Achilles that's gone the same number of miles as that one on the other foot.
Yeah.
True. And you worry about that. It's just like a car, when you get around, a couple 100,000 miles, as soon as one thing breaks down, sometimes a lot of other things break down because it's all the same age and it's all the same mileage. And that's what we were talking about earlier is that the salary cap, it's now going to be the option of Durant to re-up. I mean, this may be one of the most significant non-free agent moves in the history of the game.
Yeah, I mean, now for him personally, fortunately, he's already made enough to last a few lifetimes, so he doesn't, quote, need the money. But strictly looking at the money side of it, what was he supposed to earn next year?
About $30 million.
About $30 million. So that's if the Warriors and he continue to play ball with each other.
No, it's his option. So in other words, the Warriors really have no choice. It's that he signed. What he could have done is he could have opted out of his option and become a complete free agent.
Okay.
And that's when New York Knicks were salivating, and the Clippers were drooling, and the Lakers were begging and pleading, and Cleveland wants him, and all these other cities want him. But now that they know he's going to be out for a year. Yeah. And that's out for an entire year and really not going to be able to play till 2021.
Yeah.
He's not going to set foot on a court till 2021. And then that's a big question how he's going to be. Now, we've seen players come back very well from the Achilles tendon. I mean, what DeMarcus Cousins, perfect example right there. Then he had a quad injury though. So, it's
probably because he hadn't been playing for so long.
That's a factor. Yeah. That's a factor, is when you're off for an entire year, the rest of your body cannot get into NBA shape, especially, I mean, sad to say, myself in 2016, I suffered a significant leg injury.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to work out one leg.
Yeah. I had the same problem.
Yeah. It's one thing when you hurt your arm, or, you hurt maybe, your shoulder. You can work on the other arm. You can do things like run around and get on a stationary bike and bike around and stuff like that, and keep yourself in some kind of shape. When you hurt your leg, one leg gets out of balance from the other because one is so weak and the other one is doing all the work. Then you not only have to, bring your old leg back, but you have to balance it with your other leg.
So you have to do one of those arms where you do just the arm bicycle type exercise.
For me, my rehabbing, I don't know what you did to rehab, but for me, I walked laps in the pool, and I'm talking like not just one lap. I'm talking like 1,000 laps, and we're talking like 1,000 laps. Maybe not a day, but maybe like every week I'd be doing 1,000 laps. So probably about 200 or 300 laps, just walking back and forth in the pool.
And because of the I don't say weightlessness.
Yes,
but
the balance, the ability to balance and gain my balance back, because I was so out of balance for so long.
That was good rehab. Is that your doctor recommended that?
Yeah, well, a long time ago, I had also sprained my left leg, my left foot, really badly, playing basketball. Going up, right. Actually, it was right after the 1989 NBA Finals when Isaiah Thomas hurt his foot. And then like 2 days later, we were playing basketball down at the schoolyard.
Yeah.
And I went up and I went down. I did the same thing, and I was in a cast for 21 days.
Yeah. Okay, so it's very interesting because in 1994, I was playing basketball and I went up for a rebound and I came down on someone's foot and I completely turned my ankle over.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yeah, and I wish I would have broken it. It would have been a lot easier, but I tore like all the cartilage, tendons, and ligaments.
Close to what I did.
And so I was out for a year. I had my cast was only on for 6 weeks. How long was yours?
Well, for my left foot, it was 21 days.
Okay, so 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine was for 6 weeks, but I couldn't play basketball for a year. And again, all the discomfort of things not being equal was really tough because eventually my other calf started hurting. Because it was doing
all the work. It's really, people don't understand if they've not had the problem of like when you walk around with a cane for a while, or some other type of walking instrument, your whole body changes. Your posture changes everywhere. And so I had to go through extensive chiropractic treatment to rebalance myself and put myself back into shape. And then, again, a lot of the physical rehab, which was, again, walking in the pool. I can't recommend for people that may be listening and are trying to find a way to rehab from an injury physically. I don't think there's any better way to rehab than using the pool to do it. I mean, you see a lot of athletes doing that too. And I'm sure Kevin Durant's going to be doing that himself quite a bit.
So I'm trying to think of how many years he's been in the league now.
Gosh, like about 12, I think.
Yeah, because he was with the Seattle to begin with.
He was with the original draft on there last year.
Yeah, that's right. So at least, fortunately, it's not like he's only been in the league for like 2 years. So, I mean, how many more years do you have left to go? What,
that's
5?
a really good question. And with a busted Achilles tendon and a guy that, has such an explosive drive to the basket. I mean, I think that as a basketball fan, I will say that even with Jordan, knowing the way that Jordan plays, I still think that Durant has a more explosive blast to the basket because of his size.
He's taller.
Yeah, 7 feet, basically 7 feet tall. I've never seen someone that large and still have the accuracy from outside.
Yeah, exactly.
He's he had both. He has both of those things. And how will those things be affected?
I mean, Nowitzki had the size,
right, but not the
outside, but he did not drive.
No, exactly. And really didn't bring the defense, and wasn't as good a ball handler. I mean, that's another. These are all things that Durant has brought to the game since he's come to the Warriors. He's become an excellent ball handler, an excellent shot blocker. He steals the ball. He dunks. He drives traffic over to him and then finds a way to get it out to the open man.
So looking into your crystal ball, what's going to happen in the future?
Well, I do think he's going to re-up. So that's really going to, teams like the Warriors, teams like the Knicks and the Clippers, they're going to have to move on. They're going to have to find a way. They've been holding their purses, waiting for him to become a free agent.
Yeah, but he wouldn't want to go to New York anyway with the ownership they have.
Well, there's the fame and the money element of it. I don't feel like he could get any more famous than he is already
exactly.
now. I mean, the Warriors now are the premier product of the NBA. They've become the T-shirts are everywhere. The merchandising is everywhere. You don't see anyone wearing any Lakers stuff these days. You certainly don't see anyone wearing any Knicks stuff these days.
No, well, the old joke about the Knicks, that they were so bad that one time I had a pair of Knicks tickets in my dashboard, and go to the restaurant to eat something. I come back, my car's broken in. They left two more tickets, exactly.
Or the first prize in a contest is 2 Knicks tickets, and the
second prize is 4 tickets. Yeah. That's actually a good one. I like that one. Poor Knicks. I mean,
they brought it on themselves, but now they've been waiting all this time. They had Porzingis as their superstar, and now they've got a mess of what. Looking at who they have on their roster, it's a mess, and they've been waiting for Durant to become available. First, they wanted LeBron; they couldn't get him.
Maybe Latrell Sprewell will come back.
Exactly, be coach, and he can choke himself.
Exactly.
But so I think that Durant is going to re-up with the Warriors just because it means $30 million guaranteed for him. What he does after next year, when he will become then another true free agent with no option left, then he'll be on the open market, but he won't have played for a full year.
So the Warriors have to pay him $30 million, and he'll be out the whole year.
Yeah,
and I wonder if they have insurance for that.
There is insurance for it, but I don't think it's going to cover a lot. And I know that the NBA doesn't take the full salary cap hit on him, but I still think it's significant. It'd be probably like $20 million. So it means the Warriors really are going to be with a dead spot on their roster.
Well, they may have to talk to some of the other guys and say, "Hey guys, you're going to have to take a little bit of a haircut."
I don't even think the salary cap will let you do that. The collective bargaining agreement. I don't think you can do that.
Even if they voluntarily want it?
No, they have to. Well, they can do so, but keep in mind they have to also re-sign Clay. So that's another element.
He's a team player. I think
yeah,
he's one of those guys who just.
And they have to, there's other players leaving like Bell and Jerebko or who are total free agents that only signed for 1 year.
Yeah, Bell, unfortunately, isn't worth much. Okay, here we go. Okay. Second trivia question. How many times have the Olympics been canceled? How many different times? All right, that's our trivia question. Stay with us. For Econ 101, we'll be right back.
Okay. I did know the answer to that once. So that's some economic talk for you.
What, the Olympics thing? Or,
no, what we talked about with Durant there.
Yeah.
Sports economy going on.
Absolutely. Again, like I said, it doesn't have to be. It's not like anybody's.
I have another subject I want to bring up. Did you want to go an hour or only a half hour?
No, we have to go the full hour. Yeah.
Then I have another great subject.
Okay, good.
To bring up.
Excellent. See, that's what I love. It's just
I've got lots. Well, because I watch sports and listen to sports talk all the time. So I have. You'll get me to talk about anything but NASCAR, golf, and hockey. Those are the three things I won't give you any play.
I don't watch hockey at all. And golf, I just kind of watch.
If you want to talk about BattleBots, we talk about BattleBots.
Oh,
robotic combat.
That's kind of fun.
I can talk about that. I was at the taping of it just a month ago. Yeah,
that'd be kind of fun. But you want to bring up something else?
Yes, I do.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101 one more time. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. Here's our second trivia question. How many times have the Olympics been canceled?
I'm going to say 4.
Actually, it's 3, but what 4 were you talking about?
I know that it was once canceled for back in the really, really early days. There was some war that was going on that canceled it. I think, wasn't it also canceled once for World War II? And then
don't count 1980 with Russia.
Actually, I was thinking about that, but
no, I mean we're talking about the entire. Yeah. We're not talking about countries who decide not to to participate. We're talking about it's been canceled. So 1916 because of World War One.
Oh, that's
and
okay.
then World War II, 1940 and 44.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it'd be a little hard to greet Hitler during those times.
Well, they did the Jesse Owens.
Yeah, but that was 36.
I know they probably said
there was no wars at the time.
I know, but they were probably thinking the way that went.
Yeah,
probably a good idea just to not have them at all.
Exactly. Yeah. The Olympics, 1936. Okay, you wanted to bring up a couple of interesting topics. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is that I don't know if you have cable television or not at your house. Do you have Comcast or Xfinity?
So we have rabbit ears. We just kind of we only get channels 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7.
If you have the Vice network, there's a very interesting new program that's on called Dark Side of the Ring. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's a documentary style.
Gotta be about wrestling.
Yes, it is.
Because of the ring. Okay.
And yes, and it deals with subjects that were either mysterious or forbidden to talk about, or taboo, or sad stories, or things that were tragedies that happened in the ring. So they talk about the unfortunate death of gorgeous Gino Hernandez in the 80s. They talk
from
about
a wrestling move.
No.
Because there's one about Snorton.
Yeah,
okay.
Probably drug related, but very weird circumstances under how he died and the police reports, and maybe it was a murder. There's a lot of questions about that. There's Bruiser Brody, who was a guy that was one of the legends of professional wrestling. He was known as King Kong Brody or Bruiser Brody.
He's got Butterball.
No. You're thinking of King Kong Bundy.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Bruiser Brody.
Okay.
He was probably one of the originators of hardcore, just really crazy, out of control
wrestling. What year
wrestling.
roughly?
80s.
Okay.
And he was in the AWA. He was a big star around here, and he went to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And he was stabbed to death in the locker room, and no one was ever charged for his death.
Yeah, I remember hearing that somewhere on
yes, a guy known as the Invader was able to claim self-defense, and it was a very shady trial that he received in Puerto Rico.
All the steroids, probably, right?
A lot of weird stuff goes on in Puerto Rico. I'm sorry.
But just in general, with all the steroids going around, it kind of makes these guys a little bit Looney Tunes, doesn't it?
It does, but I'm not even sure that had anything to do with it. I think it may have had something more to do with a long-standing argument that they had over control in the locker room and the relationships these wrestlers have with each other, and friendships and lack of friendships.
And girls. It's always about girls.
No, Brody was married at the time, so that was not a big problem for him. But he was the kind of guy that liked to get the lion's share of the paycheck, and he was the kind of guy who liked to tell, control how his matches went, and that sort of thing. And when you're in a wrestling organization, you're traveling with someone the whole time. It's kind of like the circus. I mean, it's not unlike the circus or a mime troupe or a ballet company or a team,
football,
Globetrotters,
the Washington Nationals, Generals.
You're with those guys all the time. You go from one city to another city, to another city to another city, but it's still you guys all stuck in the same car or the same truck, traveling together. And
you got to play well in the sandbox.
Oh yeah, and it's that though, when you work something like that, and it's so physically grueling, and it's so tiring and so taxing, and you're with the same people all the time.
And if someone makes a mistake in the ring, they get a little bit miffed, I bet.
You don't need drugs to make you go nuts. You don't need steroids to make you go stir crazy in the wrestling business. It's people don't understand that about it, and they don't understand how personalities matter so much in your ability to succeed or fail.
Well, because it's not just the wrestling in the ring; they also have to practice.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
So it's a lot of time spent together.
It is. It's a lot of time doing that. It's setting up the ring. It's breaking, unfolding chairs. You have no idea how many folding chairs I've unfolded and folded. You just don't.
But the wrestlers have to do that?
Yes, they do.
Wow.
They all do. Well, not in the WWE.
Yeah, okay.
But in the indie scene, yes.
Yeah.
In fact, if you or if you're in a small Fed and you won't fold chairs and fold tables,
Yeah.
people won't talk to you the next show.
Well,
if they see that you're gold bricking it and you're too good to do something like that. Look, I've seen guys like Jimmy Hart help fold chairs.
That's good.
Because when you see the help and that's the thing is when you are working in an indie Fed and you see help and you see a job that needs to be done, you don't sit around and wait for someone else to do that job. You just do it.
Listen, I was CEO of a company, and sometimes there were people who knew more than I about a specific topic, and the work needed to get done on that topic like right away. So you know what I did? I said, what can I do for you guys? Can I get you sandwiches? Because we're going to hit lunchtime here pretty soon. And I'm the CEO. I'm not trying to say I'm great or anything, but it's like that. You have to have an attitude of humility. Where I'm not better than anybody else. I just happen to be the boss. That's all.
No offense, but the president we have now is like the contrariness of all of that. And I think
you mean he won't do dishes in laundry?
Exactly.
Come on, man.
I really do feel though that there's a need for America to get back to that. To recognize
they're supposed to be public servants.
Well, that you're not too good to do a job that needs being done.
Exactly. That's a good way.
You don't look at a job and say I'm too good for that. Because if it needs to get done and you have the ability to do it, you don't turn your nose at it. You go ahead and you do it.
I totally agree with you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox or anything like that.
A quick question for you about the wrestling. I guess the referees have to practice with the guys too, don't they?
Yes and no. I mean, most of the time the refs are not going to because they only show up. Look,
but they have to know ahead of time.
There's a variety of refereeing, and only the people that really understand wrestling will get this joke. But I always say, as long as you're above the Bronco Lubitsch standard, you're fine. And you'll never get that. But Bronco Lubitsch was a guy who wrestled in his up until his late 40s, and then he was a referee probably from his 40s into his early 250s.
Yeah.
and he would barely move in the ring and barely do anything at all. And so the wrestlers would all move around him, and he would just kind of stay stuck in one spot. And then finally,
was he just too lazy to move, or what?
Too old.
Wow.
So old. And he's just, so broken down from all the years in the ring.
Yeah.
But all he was good for was doing a 3 count or waving that there was a disqualification. That's about all he was ever good for.
How often do you have disqualifications?
Lots. That happens all the time. I mean,
it's staged.
It's a way to make sure that a guy doesn't win. A guy loses, but doesn't lose by getting pinned or getting submission. Or it helps build up to another fight or feud. You have somebody come in.
That happened in Creed 2, the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you bring in guys from the outside, that's a disqualification. Or back in the old day, you don't have this happen so much, but guys using foreign objects getting disqualified for the roll of quarters wrapped in their fist, and they hit the guy, and the quarters spill all over the floor, and the ref sees the coins, and then. It's good shtick.
I remember the old, hitting him over the
See, I said I'd tie it into money. I brought in a roll of quarters. That's right. So there's your sports econ right there.
I'm just kind of curious, why does a guy not pack it in well enough so that the quarters don't spill all over the place?
The quarter spilling thing is a wonderful visual. It is. The coins look great as they spill all over the ring.
But it sure makes them
little
look
kids come in and clear up the quarters afterwards.
Is that right?
Yeah. It's also you remember Mr. Fuji used to use the Oriental salt or some wrestlers would bring talcum powder. And throw that right in the guy's face. Or you'd have Jerry Lawler, who used to bring flash paper into the ring. Flash paper for
light up.
He would do a fireball. He would do an actual launch a fireball in people's faces.
See, I don't remember that. I mean, I stopped watching it after the great Mephisto found his foot to get the whatever.
The loaded boot.
The loaded boot.
That's a great stick too.
It was so fun. I mean, as a kid, you don't really know it that much,
right.
And you kind of realize, wait a minute, something seems a little bit not real here, especially when it's every time a guy gets hit, the guy stomps his foot.
Right.
Well, you know what? You could hit a lot harder if you didn't stomp your foot.
Right.
But the loaded boot, it was there was always the other wrestler was being talked to by the referee, so he'd never see it. You'd see the fans going crazy. Look at this move! Look at this move! You know.
And that suspension of disbelief is what makes all acting great. You know, I mean, and people go, well, it's staged, but I go, yeah. Did anyone die actually in Game of Thrones in any of those battles? Nobody died in Game of Thrones.
Really? No.
You know, it's all, you know, in any Bruce Lee movie, does anyone actually get punched? No.
Yeah.
You know, in any Chuck Norris film, does anyone actually get blown up?
And then people would say, yep, there's a story behind it, but I guess in theory in wrestling,
There's a story to wrestling too.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
remember the beautiful Elizabeth? Was it Elizabeth?
Yes. Yeah.
Macho Man ran her.
Well, yeah, and again, Dark Side of the Ring focuses on a lot of these like not so great stories, having like the Von Erichs, their situation. If you're shaking your head like you don't know, then obviously you've never been to Texas in the 80s, because probably the most popular people in the history of the 80s in Texas were the Von Erich family. Kerry Von Erich and Kevin Von Erich and Fritz Von Erich.
Is that anything like the Von Trappmans?
No, they were a wrestling family, and they ran the World Class Wrestling Federation over at the Sportatorium. In Texas, and they tried to be one of Vince's rivals.
Oh, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, Vince McMahon's rivals. And they were one of the territories that was trying to put together a full-on world-level wrestling federation. And they actually were on ESPN every day. From 12, yeah, people don't remember this. From 12 to 1, all like in the early part of the 90s, when ESPN was really just starting out and just looking for anything to fill time.
Yeah.
There was World Class Wrestling was on, and I used to tape it every day. It was on from 12 to 1 o'clock
in the afternoon.
At lunch, I'd come home and I'd watch an hour of World Class, or then turned into Global Wrestling. And they were trying to rival Vince, but they failed because they had a lot of drug problems, a number of suicides in the family, and overdoses, and a tragedy of one of their sons being killed by a move that happened in the ring, and then he had surgery, and the surgery went bad. And he had toxic shock syndrome and died. Yeah, David Von Erich. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's, I mean, and there's also an amazing program about Moolah, about the fabulous Moolah. You probably remember who she was, the ladies wrestler. She was a ladies wrestler for decades and decades.
We'll get into that in just a minute. Okay, the last trivia question here. What is the oldest championship in North American professional sports?
Oh, boy.
What is the oldest championship, right? Now, baseball, goes back further than football, right? But we're talking North American professional sports. That's our trivia question. Don't touch that dial. Sports Econ 101 will be right back with the closing comment.
Or the buttons.
Or the buttons. Don't touch the buttons either.
Have we really been at this for an hour?
We've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Well, the thing is, we have
freaking believable.
Well, the show is actually like 46 to 48 minutes.
Either way, I could go like another hour.
Oh, I know, because
I could easily
well, sometimes we'll do back-to-back shows if we need.
I'm just saying, I'm amazed how. Let's say your flight is an hour late or 45 minutes late. That 45 minutes seems like a freaking eternity.
Yes.
Put me in 45 minutes worth of traffic, and I want to put a gun up to my head. But this 45 minutes,
just fast. Yeah, it does. I mean, it's actually, you've been here for a little over an hour.
I could so easily do this for a living. I wish KNBR would say, Russ, we need you to film 3 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, the problem there is that a lot of people would want that job.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, I used to be on KNBR, and it was 9 a.m. on Saturday, but it was again business and sports. It was mostly business show. But the sponsors, I mean, it was a really expensive airtime.
I know. I'm
really
sure it is. I'm sure it is.
That was $8,000 a month.
Whew.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little different. All righty. Okay, I have a couple of more things here, but is there anything specific you wanted to go over?
No, I'll let you. You have some mic. I've been eating it. Eating the mic up.
Okay. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman. Third trivia question: what is the oldest championship in North American professional sports?
I'm going to punt on this one. I'm going to say the newest one is the WWE 24/7 title, which was like a week ago or about a month ago. They created a new title.
Okay, so the oldest one is actually the Stanley Cup, 1893.
I was thinking
yeah, because the World Series didn't start till I think 1902. Then they took a year off because John McGraw said, we're not going to play those Boston guys. It's not even a real league.
I'm not sure if George Hackenschmidt's NWA title for the wrestling, the very first wrestling championship, that might have also been in the 1800s. So wow. I'm not sure. Then, or it might have been the very early 1900s.
Then John L. Sullivan.
Yeah, exactly.
1893 or 1895, something like that. All right, one quick thing here before we cut out. Madison Bumgarner was upset with a home run watcher, as we call him. So what about that? In basketball, when someone steals and then does a slam dunk, nobody seems to get upset. And in football, get an interception, run it back for a touchdown, do a celebration. Now, I'm wondering if it's because the difference is a home run only takes just a second to hit. And like you do all the celebrating, so to speak, versus, a touchdown takes, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds. You see what I mean? And a slam dunk, you steal the ball, a few more seconds, and nobody seems to get upset about that.
To me, well, first of all, it may not be much of an issue in another couple months when Madison plays for somebody else.
It's just something to think about.
Yeah,
okay, hey guys, believe it or not, we got to cut out. This is a short segment. Let's see here. Thoughts for the day. We have a bribery problem around here. No one seems to think I'm important enough to bribe.
That's right.
And Teddy Roosevelt said, complaining about a problem without posing a solution is called whining. I don't know about that. But I think he's right. All right. Well, Russell Jackman, you did a fine job today. We're definitely going to have you back on more often.
I couldn't have more fun with my clothes on. So there you go.
And with that note, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week. So long. Hey, Bruce wasn't here to do his Good Night America.
No, I should have to get that line.
You have to fill that one in.
Wow, we didn't get you any.
Oh, I know, and I'll save those for next week. Yeah, we still have, still have 9 minutes to go on being live here before I can cut this out so we can send it to CMCM. So
okay,
we can still talk about some sports stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What's on your mind?
Well, I did want to talk about the one last thing with the Dark Side of the Ring, which is the Fabulous Moolah.
I don't remember. Dark hair?
Yeah, she was dark hair. She was looked like 10 pounds of excrement stuffed in a 5-pound bag, but
she's ugly.
She's pretty ugly.
Oh.
Yeah, and she dominated the women's wrestling industry for decades and decades. And she was horrible to the other ladies that tried to wrestle.
Now again, if it's staged, how do you?
Because she would say first of all, she was the winner. She was the champion, so she would make sure she won all the time.
Yeah, but they made her be the champion. It's staged.
Right. Because she had Vince McMahon Sr.'s blessing and then Vince McMahon Jr.'s blessing. She also had these ladies, these women wrestlers, sleep with advertisers and sponsors.
Well, that's not appropriate.
Oh yeah, no, she really quote unquote pimped them out, and when they wouldn't do it. She would, make sure that they wouldn't get any kind of matches.
Was she pimping herself out?
No, not so much.
No,
she
control everyone else,
making everybody else do it. And she was taking cuts of these ladies' salaries that was, not in the contract.
What?
She's a big bully, apparently.
And what years was that?
This was from the 60s to the 90s, pretty much.
So there's no
YouTube movement. 2000s. Yeah, well, because she died before any of that stuff could really submit themselves. But she was not a very nice person, according to all of these things. So yeah, Dark Side of the Ring. You had a chance to see it. I think you'd find.
Sounds like something from Pink Floyd.
Yeah, or my wife actually turned it on because she thought she was going to see something about the making of the Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
It was going to be a documentary about the making of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's a bunch of wrestlers. You'd like it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, wow, I can't believe.
Yeah.
But it's really well made, and it's very. If it's that kind of thing that you.
Very interesting. The it was an hour-long show.
Yeah, hour long and controversial, but.
Yeah.
How old is that laptop, by the way?
Since God was a little boy.
I know. I
Yeah,
was like, I think you've had it the entire time I've known you.
Oh yeah, and I had it years before, but I don't get internet on it, but it's perfect for doing what I need to do.
Why don't you get internet on it?
Well, I don't need it because I just send it to. I don't know. That's a good question. I guess I wouldn't have to go from here to there, right?
Well, it doesn't have a wireless card in it? No?
I don't even know if it's got a hard drive.
It does. That's a hard drive. That you wouldn't be able to do anything with it without a hard drive. But I mean, it should have a wireless card built into it that you should be able to get onto the wireless network here at the office.
Probably. That's a good question. I think I just get so busy with just doing it the way it had been. But I do need to do things a little differently, don't I? That's the thing. See, when I had Kramer here, he was recording the radio show from there, and that's where you get the real professional recording. Here, this is YouTube. Man, it's pretty good, but it's not the same.
Yeah. So if you go to, or if you have a minute,
yeah,
you're gonna want to go to the.
What's it called? Windows.
The Windows Store.
Windows Store. Okay.
Or the Microsoft Store, I guess.
Wait, it should come up by itself.
Sorry, I meant Microsoft Store.
I mean, Windows Store does seem to populate, but it's not doing anything yet.
I don't think so. I think it's probably.
Okay, the Windows Store or no?
No, those are just.
Microsoft.com/Windows.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see what happens. Yeah. And
Are you still on 7?
Yep.
You have to fix that.
Yeah. When does that happen?
End of the year.
End of 2019.
In other words, 5 more months.
And then what happens?
No more security updates.
Who cares about that?
Your clients.
I'm just. No, I don't have clients. I don't have to worry about that.
Well, the money folks, they probably don't want to hear that you could.
Was it Windows 10 or something?
Yeah, you got to move to Windows 10.
Yeah, but at least I don't have to do Vista or 8 or 9, right?
Yeah, no, those are Vista was before 7.
Yeah.
But 7 no longer has any updates. So
and 8 was terrible.
Once you put like a thing on it to bring back the startup menu, 8 was workable. But 10 is fine. And everybody I know is on 10 now. I'm surprised you've been able to get.
What happens at the end of the year? Are they going to come out with 11?
No, they're keeping 10 for a while.
Really?
They're keeping 10 for the near future, probably for the next 4 or 5 years.
How'd you know I was on 7?
Because I looked at the start ball on the lower left-hand side, and I recognized.
Oh, this guy here?
7, yeah.
Oh, I don't know what that.
And remember, I'm a computer consultant.
Of course you are.
It's.
What does it cost to upgrade to 10?
Well, technically, it's free. Depends on what kind. Here, do this. Go to the control panel.
Yeah, you know how to do that.
Good. And let's go to system.
And I can't do anything yet because we have I got to make sure that all of our computers, otherwise I'll be all messed up with them.
And go down to where it says system.
There you go.
And what is it? You've got an i7 and 8 gigabytes of RAM. So you know what? Although it's a 3.8 rated, system's not great. You usually want stuff in the 4.
Oh, this thing's slow.
Yeah. I would say that you probably want a new machine. This thing, this one's, I think, from 2000. Here, do one more thing. Go back to the start ball.
Huh? Okay.
Go down to the start ball. Go and in the search program type system information. And then, oops.
Oh, sorry.
You got it. You pulled it up anyway. And give it a sec. And then this tells you how, this is from 2013.
Ah, it's only 6 years old.
6 years is like the
Forever,
end life
yeah.
of a laptop, of a computer. It really is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have the server over there, and we have the stuff.
So yeah, you probably by the end of the year, I wouldn't move this one to Windows 10. I would get a new machine.
Yeah, then we have to kind of get everything put on. What do you charge for doing
My
this kind
rate's
of stuff?
$120 an hour.
Okay, how many hours do you think it would take? We've got 3 computers and our server.
The server we probably wouldn't need to change.
Yeah, because that one's fairly new.
Yeah, that one takes about 3 hours per machine to get it configured up. I mean, loading up all your stuff, getting it onto the server, configuring it up, and getting.
But a lot of it's downtime, right? I mean, it just kind of does itself, right? It's like,
and getting it connected to your printers and all that stuff, and moving your data over from your old machines to just the local data from your old machines to the new ones, and getting them personally set up, like getting Outlook and all that, configured. So it's between 2 to 3 hours per machine.
Okay, so about $1,000.
Yeah.
$1,000.
Yeah.
And then the machine itself,
the machines themselves, you can get them for around $500 to $700
each.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to do something. Let me.
Yeah, it would make a big.
Okay, we got 15 seconds here, and then let's talk to Dawn because she kind of helps make the decision.
I didn't know this was all being recorded.
Because I've got this has to have 56 minutes. Otherwise they won't.
So I hope everyone got this little tech lesson that we.
That's right.
And now we're going to on Windows 7
end our stream.
Yes. All right.